distant planet Ephraim V, one of humanity's newest colonies. With fertile lands, abundant water sources, and perfect atmospheric conditions, it was almost like a second Earth. Over 5 years, the colony thrived, and in its last reported transmission, it stated that the population had surpassed 100,000 and a large city had been established. However, everything changed 4 months ago. Signals from the colony suddenly ceased. At first, it was assumed to be a system failure, but even the backup communication satellites were silent. Later, trade ships were sent, yet none returned. Ephraim V had seemingly vanished overnight. To uncover the colony's fate, humanity dispatched a warship, Liberation, accompanied by 3 scout vessels. This team, led by Captain Elias Vance, comprised the best soldiers and scientists. Their mission was simple: discover what happened to the colony, rescue any survivors. If there was a threat, warn humanity. But as they approached Ephraim V, they encountered something no one had expected. When Liberation and the scout team entered Ephraim V's orbit, they were met with an unexpected sight. Captain Elias Vance furrowed his brow as he watched the image displayed on the main screen. The city was entirely intact. The buildings stood in their places. Vehicles were neatly parked. There were no signs of explosions, fires, or conflict. But something was missing: the people. "Are there any life signs of survivors?" Vance asked the sensor specialist beside him. The woman shook her head. "No, sir. No large animals, no birds, no humans. The city is completely silent." A sense of unease settled over the crew. Where could 100,000 people have disappeared in a single night? The reconnaissance team, escorted by heavily armed soldiers, descended onto the surface. A 5-member squad advanced toward the city's central plaza. The streets were clean, the power grid was operational, and even some shop lights were still on. When they entered a cafe, food was still on the tables. Fresh, untouched, as if the owners had just stepped away. "This is creepy," whispered Lieutenant Harris. "It's like everyone just vanished all at once." Vance reminded his team to stay together and pressed forward. But within minutes, they noticed something strange inside a building. A shadow flickered past a window, disappearing in an instant. "Stay alert," Vance murmured. They pushed the door open and entered. Vance picked up a fallen datapad from the ground. The screen was glitching, the text barely legible, except for one part: "Run. They are here, but you can't see them." As the team tried to decipher the message, they suddenly noticed a shift in the air. The temperature had dropped a few degrees, and an unnatural pressure filled the space. "This isn't normal," Harris muttered, gripping his weapon tightly. Vance nodded. "We're leaving, now." But just as they turned to leave, the door slammed shut on its own. Lieutenant Harris rushed to open the door, but it was locked. No mechanism seemed to be functioning. Then a whisper echoed from the dark corner of the room. It sounded human, yet distorted, guttural. "You can't see it, but it sees you." The team instinctively raised their weapons. Heat scanners, motion sensors, none detected anything. But something was definitely there. "We are not alone," Vance whispered. Then the lights went out. The room was now only dimly illuminated by the faint glow of their helmet screens. Vance quickly activated night vision, but the display was corrupted with static. Harris pulled out a thermal scanner and swept the room. The screen showed nothing. It was as if only they existed in the space. "How is that possible?" Harris's voice trembled. And then, a scream. Turner was gone. His weapon and body camera lay on the ground, the only trace of him. There were no footprints, no struggle, just emptiness. "Fall back!" Vance shouted. But it was already too late. Harris's body lifted off the ground and was hurled against the wall. He fired his weapon, but the bullets vanished into thin air. "What the hell is happening?" Vance frantically searched for an escape route, but his helmet comms started distorting. The whispers were closer now. Too late. You can't see them, but they are watching you. And in that instant, something grabbed Vance's shoulder. Vance blinked. The room was the same, but completely empty. Harris and Turner were gone. The radio was silent. He took a deep breath. Is this the same place? Yes, but something was different. A strange humming filled the air, as if the room itself was breathing. He turned toward the door, but when he opened it, the corridor outside was nothing like he remembered. Everything was warped, stretched, geometrically impossible. The ground curled upward and the walls whispered. When Vance turned around, Turner was there, but his eyes were completely black. Harris? Vance whispered, but Turner took a step forward and spoke. You don't belong here. Then all the lights went out. Vance took a step back. Turner's eyes were a black void, but worse. His face was slipping. His skin, like melting wax, dripped downward. What remained was a shapeless, writhing mass, but it was still speaking. You don't belong here. Vance felt his pulse pounding in his throat. This wasn't the same world anymore. He searched his memory. They had come on a mission. They were supposed to find the missing scientists from an abandoned research station. But now he understood. The missing people had never been here in the first place. Instead, those who had come, Harris, Turner, and himself, were they truly meant to be here? Then where had the first settlers gone? At that moment, he noticed the walls shifting. They were bending. The room wasn't a prison. It was a living organism. A chill ran down Vance's spine. This wasn't a building. It was a being, and it was watching him. Vance gripped his rifle with trembling hands. His brain screamed at him to run, but his feet were frozen in place. Turner, or whatever had taken his place, took another step forward. You tethered us here. Memories struck Vance's mind like lightning. The abandoned station, the unknown entity. This wasn't humanity's first contact. Humanity had already encountered these beings, but they didn't remember, because they were never allowed to remember. The first exploration team had come here. These beings had stolen their minds and bodies. But humanity had fought back. They erased them. Their history, their existence, every trace of them was wiped away. But now they were waking up. Vance forgot to breathe for a moment, because Turner's voice was no longer coming from his mouth. It was coming from everywhere. We will see you soon. All the lights went out, and Vance felt it. Something immense, a presence looming over the world. Something was watching him. Vance took a deep breath. He had to get out. But escaping meant understanding. Humanity hadn't just forgotten these beings. They had been made to forget. Moving carefully, he took a step forward. Silence. But it wasn't ordinary silence. It was heavy, alive. As he rounded a corner, he saw strange symbols etched into the walls. At first, they seemed incomprehensible, but then, even the symbols had been forgotten. Wordless, meaningless marks, as if someone had erased them. But who and why? As he took another step, the walls moved. Humanity is in debt. The voice came not from one place, but from everywhere. We did not take from you, you took from us. Vance's eyes widened. Had they really forgotten? Or had humanity been forced to forget? There was only one choice. He had to tell humanity. But would humanity want to know? Vance knew the next step would decide everything. Vance took a deep breath. Running was logical, but running meant leaving something unfinished. He had come this far. He couldn't return without the full truth. Carefully, he advanced. The symbols on the walls no longer felt alien. He understood them instinctively. But how? This place was unlocking something buried deep in the human mind. Suddenly, a hum filled the air, a million voices whispering at once. Remember. Before him, a massive door appeared. It looked as if no technology had ever built it. If he opened it, he would face humanity's buried past. Slowly, he reached out. The moment Vance's fingers touched the door, an explosion of memories surged through his mind. His vision blurred, his pulse quickened. Something long sealed away was breaking free. And in that instant, he understood. Humanity did not forget. Humanity was made to forget. Flashes of knowledge were forcibly uploaded into his mind. Beings as vast as suns. Entities that could burn planets with a single glance. A force that existed beyond time, shaping space itself. And humans were running. But it wasn't cowardice. It was strategy. Humanity had realized they couldn't win through war. So they made a choice. They hid. History was erased. Technology was slowed. Humans chose the safety of insignificance. But behind the mask, there had once been the greatest warriors the cosmos had ever seen. And now, those beings were returning. Vance fell to his knees. Knowing all this, could he change fate? Should humanity awaken again? Vance took a deep breath. The weight of the truth could crush him. But the time had come. Humanity had survived in hiding. But survival was not freedom. And freedom was worth fighting for. He stood up, determination in his eyes. His first objective was clear: to spread this truth to humanity. The Imperial Archives. Buried deep within the planet's layers, forgotten vaults of knowledge lay hidden. If proof of humanity's past existed anywhere, it had to be there. But he was not alone. Someone did not want this secret to be revealed. Vance quickly tapped his communication device, reaching out to the Resistance network. Codes were sent, connections established. But an immediate warning flashed. Warning. An unknown force is tracking your communication line. At that moment, the walls of the room were bathed in red warning lights. They found us. Heavy, mechanical footsteps echoed from beyond the door. Armored troops. The truth was awakening, but the price would be high. Vance clenched his teeth. Fighting the armored troops was an option, but he needed to ignite a much greater war. With trembling hands, he activated the communication device again. He had to broadcast without triggering any counter signals. Code: Phoenix Protocol. Signal transmitting. This is a message to all Resistance cells. Humanity was not forgotten. It was made to forget. It's time to rise. There is proof of our lost history, and those who wish to silence us are hiding it. We must find it. We must fight for our freedom. Humanity is awakening. Transmission complete. Warning. Broadcast signal detected. Vance lifted his head. The door exploded open. Armored soldiers stormed in. But it was too late. The message was out. Dawn of the Resistance message broadcast complete. As Vance's voice echoed across the galaxy, something shifted within the silent human colonies. Those who had lived in fear for years now knew the truth of their forgotten past. Amidst the ruins of Earth. In the shattered cities of old Earth, an unnamed man watched the broadcast on his screen. His eyes burned with fury. Without hesitation, he unlocked a hidden vault. Inside lay a rusted, old human military uniform. "This is the sign I've been waiting for," he whispered. The rebellion had begun. Mars colony, the miners' revolt. Deep beneath the red planet, laborers realized they would no longer be enslaved. As the first attack struck the colonial overseers, Mars trembled. Lunar base, the forgotten soldiers. Some remnants of Earth's military still hid within abandoned bases on the moon. In what was thought to be lifeless facilities, an unknown number of warriors rearmed themselves. The galaxy awakens. A single transmission sent ripples of fear and hope throughout the universe. The Empire sounded the alarm. Warning, red alert. Massive human uprising in colonies. The first battles begin. Abandoned space station, Zeta Prime system. In a dark hangar, the lights of an ancient warship flickered back to life. Silent terminals suddenly roared with data streams. A shadow stood before a dusty console. Name: General Eric Voss. Title: the last commander of humanity. Status: presumed dead, but he was alive. Recorded audio log. Date unknown. They forgot me. They thought I was dead. But those who do not remember are not us. They are the ones who have forgotten what humanity truly is. His eyes gleamed. He entered a final command into the terminal. Broadband transmission initiated. Message to all human colonies. This is General Eric Voss. Know that I am alive. The war is not over. Humanity has not fallen. All colonies, unite. The Empire in panic. This news was a devastating blow to the Galactic Empire. A forgotten hero was rising once more, joined by veteran warriors and a new generation of rebels. War is coming. Abandoned warship, Zeta Prime system. General Eric Voss placed his hand on the ancient command panel. One by one, the ship's dormant systems flickered online, and its rusted engines trembled back to life. Admiral, said an aged engineer beside him, this ship is a grave. It will bury us with it. Voss gazed at the screen. A relic from the past displayed enemy positions across the sector. Then let's complete our final mission. First strike. Target, Imperial Watch Station. Fate Star defense status. Low advantage. Element of surprise. The ship's crew was a mix of old warriors and young volunteers, most of whom had not seen battle in years. But they had something the enemy did not. Faith, the Imperial fleet, on high alert. Voss's ship advanced at unexpected speed. The enemy commanders had dismissed it as a derelict wreck, a forgotten relic of the past. They had made a grave mistake. The attack begins. The first torpedoes struck the Fate Star's shields, sending shockwaves through its hull. Imperial officers scrambled, shouting panicked orders. But it was too late. General Voss took full command of his ship and charged straight into battle. One by one, enemy vessels erupted in flames. However, enemy reinforcements incoming. We have 7 minutes. Fate Star, Imperial Watch Station. Voss's face remained firm. We did not come here to die. We came here to start a revolution. He opened a communication channel and broadcast a final message to all human colonies. This is not just a battle. This is the resurrection of humanity. The Empire may have forgotten us, but we have not forgotten ourselves. Rise now and fight. From our ashes, we will be reborn. Enemy ships closed in, but they were no longer alone. The spark of rebellion. Even within the Empire, human soldiers heard the call. Some lowered their weapons. Others raised the banner of rebellion. Imperial base under siege. Human warriors stormed the Imperial Watch Station. The first explosions erupted as Voss and his crew charged forward. This war was an awakening for all who had remained silent for too long. The entire galaxy stands witness. Under Voss's leadership, the rebellion spread like wildfire. One by one, planets seceded from the Empire. Human colonies raised their own banners. For the first time, the Empire knew fear. And a single cry echoed across the stars. Humanity will never be forgotten.